girls, it's Darian. My pronouns are she, her, and her, and it's Girls Inc. Week. So, those of you that don't know, this Girls Inc. Week is focusing on civic engagement. Civic engagement or civic participation is any individual or group activity addressing issues of public concern, citizens acting alone or together to protect public values or make a change or difference in the community are common types of civic engagement. So the book I'm going to read to you guys today is about two groups of girls from across the country in different states that start different programs around the same time to help the environment, and how they went to the head of their city to help get the help they needed and make a difference in the world. So I hope you guys enjoy this book. Let's get to it. All right, Girls to the Rescue, a tale of two youth groups. Tara Church gazed across the grassy grounds of the United States Capitol building. Most of the trees stood leafless against the November sky, but here and there red and gold leaves still clung to their branches. In autumns to come, similar red leaves would cover the small maple tree at Tara's side. For now, the trees rested with bare branches in its freshly dug hole. This tree would honor the 1 million boys and girls who had planted 1 million trees in communities across the country. In a few minutes, children, government leaders, and heads of the nation organizations would cover the tree's roots with soil from all 50 states. The ceremony was one of many Tara had attended in Washington, D.C. Now, at the age of 22, Tara could hardly count her trips to the nation's capital over the past 13 years. Since 1988, two presidents had given awards to Tara and the Tree Musketeers, the kids' environmental group she and her friends founded in California when they were 8 years old. Beginning at age 9, Tara and the other Tree Musketeers had stepped off planes here many times to accept awards. Tara thought back over the milestones of the past 13 years. 1987. In 1987, Tara sat with the rest of the Brownie Troop 91 in El Sangero, California, discussing the long-term effects of disposable dishes. The discussion wandered from the cutting down of trees to the landfill's crises to air pollution. One problem with using paper dishes is that manufacturing paper can lead to buildup of carbon dioxide, a gas made up by carbon and oxygen. Carbon dioxide is an air pollutant, but not the type that turns air brown and reduces visibility. Carbon dioxide creates its own set of problems, traps heat close to Earth, creating what scientists call the greenhouse effect. Because burning gas, oil, and coal send so much carbon dioxide into the air, scientists fear that the Earth's temperature will rise. Besides producing carbon dioxide, making paper uses up the trees that help hold down the carbon dioxide levels in the air. Stripping the Earth's trees can allow this greenhouse gas to build up in the atmosphere. As the Brownies learned, greenhouse gases might threaten the future of life on Earth as we know it. Higher temperatures could cause some plants to die. Melting ice caps at the North and South Poles would release so much more water into the oceans. The more water in the oceans, the more land they cover, and the Brownies' hometown on the coast. Alarmed at rapid exchange of the Earth's wilderness and resources for air pollution and waste, the Brownies took action. First, they planted a sycamore, Marcy the marvelous tree, on a flat, treeless strip of grass at the edge of town. After tramping down the soil over the roots, they sat around the tree, picturing it as it would stand tall and leafy in the future. As Tara recalled a few years later, after planting, I thought about Marcy, how big she'd grown, and how much good that one tree could do in the future. Realizing how much one individual could accomplish by planting one tree gave me a sense of power I didn't have before. I had realized how much I cared about the environment, but didn't feel my individual efforts could make a difference until that moment. Covered with mud from head to toe, the Brownies committed themselves to helping the Earth. Very soon they had enlisted the help of their parents, troop leaders, city leaders, and community members. Gina Barrett and Tara also drafted their older brothers, Brett and Brooke. I got dragged into it by my younger sister, admitted Brett at a tree planting. His size and weight came in handy when he jammed the point of his shovel into some hard, packed soil and jumped onto the shovel to break up the ground for smaller planters. After recruiting boys and girls of all ages, the group became known as the Tree Musketeers. Their initial task was to learn as much as possible about the environment. They shared that knowledge with other kids and adults and used their integrity to come up with local solutions for the Earth's problems. 1988. At the request of Tree Musketeers, El Seguero's City Council put Arbor Day on the city calendar. The members of Tree Musketeers had been trained in tree planting and care. So at the first Arbor Day celebration, parents, city leaders, and business executives rolled up their sleeves and took orders from the young experts. Soon, a small leafy forest of trees stood on the strip of land where Marcy grew. Later that year, a group of Tree Musketeers boarded a plane for Washington, D.C. There they accepted the first of many presidential awards, the National President's Environmental Youth Award. In 1989, Melissa Poe, age 9, became concerned as she was watching a television program showing changes that might result from several more years of pollution. As a result, she wrote a letter to President George Bush Sr., hoping that he might help. After a few weeks without a reply, Melissa decided to act on her own. I realized that if I wanted something done, I was going to have to do it myself. I started the Kids for a Clean Environment, Kids Face. The club met at my school in Nashville, Tennessee. We had 6 members, and we started recycling, planting trees, and learning about the environment. Melissa began calling advertising agencies. Some of them agreed to post information about their concerns on billboards across the country. When curious children from all over the country began calling Melissa, she suggested that they start their own Kids Face chapters. Kids Face quickly grew too big for one girl to handle alone after school. Melissa's mother, Trish Poe, became her daughter's partner. She and Melissa ran Kids Face with the help from Melissa's older brother, Mason. Melissa found that kids acting alone sometimes feel they are fighting a forest fire with a squirt gun. When kids get together, they can take on manageable pieces of global problems and also recognize the collective value of their individual efforts. 1990. Tree Musketeers knew that recycling paper and other products would save trees and cut down on global warming. They wrote columns in their paper and persuaded citizens to recycle. Then, Tree Musketeers opened the first complete recycle drop-off center in El Seguero. In 1991, the Tree Musketeers was the only youth group on the steering committee for the 1991 5th National Urban Forestry Conference, where another dream took shape. We decided it would be nice to have a summit for our own, just for kids, Tara said. U.S. Department of Agriculture Forest Services Representative Robert Conrad was listening. He made inquiries about funding, and the Forest Services, the National Association of State Foresters, and the Environmental Protection Agency granted Tree Musketeers money for the summit. 1993. In 1993, both Tree Musketeers and Kid Face shared the experience of helping plan a national environmental summit. With community support, Tree Musketeers had planted 700 trees in El Segundo and found homes for thousands of seedlings. Awards and honors covered the walls of their office. Meanwhile, Kids Face had 110,000 members all over the world. Like Tree Musketeers, they had been acknowledged nationwide for projects such as tree planting and recycling. Both groups had sent young speakers to address students and adult audiences around the country. Tara, 14, and Melissa, 13, first connected with when Tree Musketeers recruited a steering committee with the young members from 11 environmental groups. The members age 11 to 18 planned the first ever By Kids for Kids National Youth Environmental Summit. Partners for the Planet, Tree Musketeers, Tammy Smith chaired the committee, and Melissa's brother Mason served as a member. More than 600 kids from around the world flocked to Cincinnati, Ohio. From July 16th to July 18th, 1993, they attended the environmental workshops taught by boys and girls from Three Musketeers, Kid Face, and other youth groups. The summit ended with a meeting to agree on recommendations for the world's children, teens, and government leaders. That summit really did something to me. It made me think a lot, said Kizzy Mayo, who raised organic produce at her Pennsylvania middle school to feed homeless people. Now I know other kids are doing these projects, and I'm not doing it alone. They're working with me. Steering committee member Quantrell Lambert, age 11, said planning and organizing the summit had changed him too. I wasn't always an environmentalist. I developed new values working with my Arbor Club and planning the summit, he said. I now feel that I have a great power to change the world, added Kizzy. Others also saw the value of persistence, sharing ideas, and joining forces. A number of youth environmental summits were held around the country over the next few years. 1994. Twice in 1994, Three Musketeers, Sabrina Almahomd packaged her bags and headed for Washington, D.C. at a national conference on environmental efforts on children's health. She presented a paper she had written, which was published in Environmental Health Perspectives, a magazine of the National Institute of Health. Later that year, Sabrina was a panelist at the White House Conference on Climate Action, exclaiming the problem of global warming. Government leaders wanted Sabrina to report the recommendations of the kids who had attended Partners for the Planet Summit. Tara went with Sabrina to the White House conference. Tara accepted the Presidential Volunteer Award action on behalf of Three Musketeers. Speaking at the Conference on Climate Action, Vice President Al Gore mentioned only one group by name in 1987. He announced a group of 8-year-old girls planted a tree. Today, those girls form a group they call the Three Musketeers. From a vacant lot at the edge of El Segundo, California, to national recognition, they planted 700 trees now. They've adopted out thousands of others and helped open El Seguero's first drop-off recycling center. Last year, they ran the first National Youth Environmental Summit. Gore announced that the Three Musketeers, Sabrina, now 15, had come to present the recommendations of the boys and girls from the Youth Summit. He asked her to stand. Speaking directly to Sabrina, Gore assured Sabrina, "You are not alone. On Earth Day, we should all resolve to be as dedicated as these young girls, because it is the people who work as a team that accomplish the real revolutions." 1997. Three Musketeers and others had wanted curbside recycling for El Seguero residents since 1987, but by 1996, residents still had to haul their recyclables to a drop-off center. Three Musketeers recruited waste hauler, and in 1997, they launched a voluntary curbside program. With other youth groups, Three Musketeers signed up customers and continued to handle ongoing promotion. Customers who had problems with the service called Three Musketeers, who then made sure the problems were handled. In 1997, at the Presidential Summit for America's Future was hosted by all living presidents, past and present, Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter, General Ford, and George Bush Sr. Nancy Reagan represented her husband Ronald with their usual integrity. Tara and Melissa dreamed up a youth project to help carry out the goals of the summit. Back to 2000. At the Capitol in 2000, Tara took the microphone to finish a story aloud. 1997 was a special year, she began, when I received an invitation from General Collins Powell to attend the President's Summit for America's Future. I was thrilled that presidents were focusing on so much attention on young people. I made sure Melissa got an invitation so that we could be here together. From Kids Face survey and our own experiences, we knew tree planting was a kid's favorite activity for helping the environment. Melissa had an idea of kids planting 1 million trees and that we could call it 1 in a million. I quickly pulled together a collection of urban forestry and youth services resources partners. Melissa drew upon her 300,000 members, and we set off on a seemingly impossible journey. Impossible as it seemed, 1 million kids planted 1 million trees. I'm excited to be here, said Ashley Craw, 18, former child executive officer of Kid's Face. Today I am one in a million. We are all one in a million. Tara and Ashley introduced Angelica Roque, 13, Three Musketeers' current president. We are honored that Tara and our other founders trust us to carry on their work, said Angelica. Three Musketeers is a place where kids are boss. 1 in a million is an amazing accomplishment, but there is still so much more that needs to be done. We are into a race to heal the earth and secure a healthy future for ourselves. There is no time for anyone to sit on the sidelines, so we must go forward as a team. Then Jill, new CEO of Kids Face, stepped to the microphone to direct the planting. Children, teens, and adults each dropped a handful of soil from one state until the whole held soil from all 50. Jill added soil from the place in Tennessee where Kids Face had planted the first 1 in a million tree in 1997. Finally, Angelica walked to the tree. Tara and the others watched Angelica drop some soil collected from around the roots of Marcy the Marvelous tree, the first tree Tara and her troop planted in 1987. Then Tara told the audience, "We have always carried the same message to America's young people. That is, every person, no matter how small, carries within her the power to change the world." All right, girls, I hope you enjoyed that book. I know I did. Happy Girls Inc. Week, and I will see you guys next time. Stay safe. Bye.